Have you ever watched the person you love become a stranger right before your eyes? I saw it happen in the faint blue glow of a phone screen at 2 in the morning. The screen was angled just away from me, but not enough. I saw a name that wasn't mine, followed by a heart emoji that felt like a punch to the gut. She thought I was asleep, breathing the slow, steady rhythm of a trusting husband. But I was awake, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. This wasn't just a text. It was a crack in the foundation of my entire world, and I knew, with a terrifying certainty, that if I pulled at that single thread, everything would unravel. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Jenna was my everything. We built a life in a quiet suburb of Chicago, in a house on a street lined with oak trees that felt as solid and dependable as I thought we were. I was a project manager. She was a rising star in marketing. Our life was good, predictable, safe, until it wasn't. It started with the little things, the cliches you read about but never think will happen to you. Her phone, once left casually on the kitchen counter, was now always screened down or in her purse. She started working late, client dinners that she'd come home from smelling not of restaurant food, but of expensive cologne I didn't own. When I'd ask, her eyes would turn to steel. "Are you questioning me?" "I can't believe you're this paranoid, Mark. It's for my career." She'd say it with such dismissive arrogance that I'd actually find myself apologizing, feeling guilty for my own suspicion. She was a master manipulator, turning my valid concerns into proof of my insecurity. The man I was confident, trusting, was being systematically dismantled. I felt myself shrinking. The real proof came on a rainy Tuesday. She'd told me she was at a conference in downtown Chicago, staying overnight at the Palmer House Hilton. I'd called the room just to say goodnight. No answer. I called her cell, and she picked up, whispering, "I'm in the middle of the keynote speech. I can't talk." But in the background, I heard it. Not the drone of a speaker, but the distinct, cheerful chime of the Clark Lake L train station. I knew that sound. It was nowhere near her hotel. A cold dread washed over me. She was lying. That night I didn't sleep. I felt a part of me break, a quiet internal snap. The loyal, loving husband was gone, and in his place, something colder and more strategic began to form. My grief was turning to ice. I wasn't going to confront her. No, that's what she would expect. I was going to gather evidence. I was going to build a case, not just for a divorce, but for her complete and utter ruin. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who looked like he'd seen it all. He was worth every penny. Within a week, I had a folder full of high-resolution photos. Jenna laughing as she walked down Rush Street, hand in hand with him. Him, a smirking, handsome finance bro named David, one of her firm's biggest clients. There were photos of them kissing outside a boutique hotel in the Gold Coast, the Thompson. There were receipts from lavish dinners I hadn't known about, hotel bills I hadn't paid. Seeing the images felt like a second betrayal. They looked so happy, so untouchable. They were living a different life, a better one, funded by the stability I provided. The humiliation burned in my chest, but I channeled it. I opened a new bank account. I contacted a shark of a divorce attorney my PI recommended. I started meticulously documenting every asset, every expense, every lie. While she was playing house with him, I was preparing for war. The trap was set for her 35th birthday party, an extravagant affair she'd planned for weeks, insisting we host it at our home. She invited all our friends, her family, and her most important colleagues, including her boss. She wanted to be the center of attention, the successful woman who had it all. And I was going to give her exactly what she wanted. The day of the party, I was the perfect, doting husband. I smiled. I poured champagne. I made sure everyone was having a wonderful time. Jenna was glowing, oblivious. David, her lover, was there too, of course. He shook my hand, a smug, self-satisfied look in his eyes, thinking he was the smartest man in the room. The air was thick with their shared secret. At 9 p.m., I dimmed the lights for a special birthday surprise. A large projector screen I'd rented descended from the ceiling. Jenna clapped her hands in delight, thinking it was a slideshow of our happy memories. "Oh, Mark, you didn't have to," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I did," I replied, My voice flat, the slideshow began. The first few photos were of us smiling, on vacations. Then, the screen went black, and the first of the PI's photos appeared. Jenna and David, kissing on Rush Street, blown up to 6 feet tall. A collective gasp filled the room. The music stopped. Jenna's face went from beaming to ghost white in a single heartbeat. David froze, a deer in the headlights. I let the image hang there for a full 10 seconds before the next one appeared, them entering the Thompson Hotel. His arm wrapped possessively around her waist. Then another and another. Receipts from their dinners. Hotel bills. Text messages I'd recovered, filled with their sordid little plans. The room was utterly silent, save for Jenna's ragged breathing. Her father stared at the screen, his face a mask of disbelief and shame. Her boss looked from the screen to her, his expression hardening. When the last photo faded, I turned the lights back up. Jenna was staring at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of pure hatred and panic. "How could you?" she whispered, her voice trembling. I looked at her, and for the first time in months I felt nothing. No pain, no love, just a vast, cold emptiness. "The real question," I said, my voice carrying across the silent room, "is how could you?" The next morning, my lawyer filed for divorce, citing adultery, with the entire dossier of evidence attached. Her firm fired her for violating their code of conduct with a client. Her family disowned her. David, the coward, disappeared, changing his number and blocking her on everything. She was left with nothing but the public shame I had so carefully engineered. The house sold. I moved to a sterile, modern apartment in downtown Los Angeles, overlooking the city lights. I don't feel triumphant. I don't feel happy. The revenge was a fire that burned everything to the ground, and I was left standing in the ashes. Sometimes late at night, I think about that moment, the blue light of her phone, and I wonder if there was another way. But there wasn't. She made her choice, and I made mine. All that's left is the quiet, the end.